Director of Health at Piedmont Healthcare here in Atlanta. We really appreciate your time. Let's start off with this. Most teams will be avoiding practicing during the worst heat of the day. They're going to go either early in the morning or in the evening, but even then, I mean, come on, it can still get very, very hot. At what temperature can someone experience heat exhaustion, and how fast does this process occur?
So this process can occur very, very, very rapidly. And these coaches need to keep a close eye on their players in this heat, even if they are practicing during the off hours, meaning avoiding the extreme heat of the day. The reason that this is important is that hydration is important. And it's also important for these coaches to make certain that they have set up cooling stations or misting stations where their players can step out of the heat and into shade, hydrate, and actually have their skin misted with water. It doesn't even have to be cool water, just water, because it will evaporate on the skin and create a cooling effect. The other thing that coaches need to do is to insist that their players wear very lightweight, cool, light colored clothing, no dark colored clothes, because that's going to absorb and hold heat. So all of these are things that coaches can step in as a prevention measure to keep their team safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Doc, I find myself thinking about this, that the high school teams are the ones that are starting to practice right now, maybe even more so than some of the colleges. But the high school teams don't always have the same resources that the colleges have, meaning trainers and health professionals on field watching them. But they often have the tech on the field, meaning they're playing on turf, which is that much hotter. So they have all the heat, all the equipment, but without the protection of the staff. What should the players and coaches be looking for to know that something's going wrong and to know that they're not overdoing it?
And for these high school students, parental involvement is key. And make certain that you are packing with your child as they go to these football practices, 1 or 2 or 3 cool claws that are in ice water or ice that they can continue to pull out and place on their necks, place on their armpits, and cool themselves off, and then resubmit it. Resubmerge it in that cool water such that they can continue to reuse it. Of course, there are things that are more high tech where you can actually get a cooling pad, you crunch it, and it expands and stays cool the entire time. But parents will have to be involved, make certain that they are sending their child to practice with lots of cold, hydrated, not only water, but water infused with electrolytes as well.
Okay, Dr. Morgan, I got to tell you, my kids, I've got 4 kids, they call me an old. I'm an old guy. I played high school ball back in the 80s. This was a time where coaches actually would frown upon the idea. You're weak if you drink water. You're weak if you need a break. Thankfully, we've changed. But there was that day and age where water breaks were viewed as weak. How often should we, now in a modern age, be taking these breaks? How much water should we be consuming? How much water should the players be hydrating with?
Right. And when you say modern age, these hotter temperatures, and currently we are in a heat wave. So you should be taking water really every 15 minutes. You should be taking some amount of water, and there should be opportunity, especially if you are exercising with heavy exertion, to get out of the shade and continue to hydrate. And the coaches need to be make certain that they are aware and really, really watching for signs of heat exhaustion. It is really incumbent on them to watch for signs of exhaustion, and also maybe especially for those high school players to have a buddy system and to teach the players how to recognize signs of heat exhaustion in their buddies.
We have about a minute left, but let's say, God forbid, someone does overdo it. What should we be doing to help that player if it occurs?
If you have the resources available, an ice bath is the quickest way to cool that core temperature, that temperature around your organs, to submerge someone in an ice bath. There, though, you have to make certain that you're watching them carefully such that they don't go into shock. But an ice bath is always the most effective to divert the circulation of the blood from the skin to the organs. Other than that, get ice packs, pack the torso, pack the armpits, the necks, the groin, and really try to preserve your organs and to get that core temperature down as quickly as possible. anybody has confusion or delirium, immediately call 911. They are transitioning to heat stroke.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, the doctor is in and we love her. That's right. Dr. Jane Morgan from Piedmont Healthcare. We appreciate your wisdom. We really appreciate your time.
You know, in the winter, you have to heat someone up slowly.
Oh, yeah.
In the summer, you cool them down as fast as possible. It's the opposite.
Such a good point. Absolutely. All right, folks.